As a coach, knowing when to pull a starting pitcher is super important. There are so many factors that go into this decision, so today I want to give you 5 possible reasons it's time to remove the starting pitcher. Let's dive in. Number 1 is pitch counts. And this one's pretty obvious because obviously there's only so many pitches a player can make on any given day. A couple questions to ask yourself are how many pitches is he built up for, how stressful have the innings been, and how many pitches has he thrown in any given inning. Pitch count should be highly individualized based on what the player has worked up towards. 30 pitches might mean nothing for one guy, and for another guy, it's a lot of pitches. So we want to make sure it's in the context of what the guy is actually built up for. A couple general rules to follow are not to let your pitchers throw any more than 30 to 35 pitches in any given inning. You're going to want to be on the safe side, especially with amateur players, and remove them from the game if they exceed that pitch count in one inning. Another rule is to gradually build up guys week to week in increments of 15 to 20 pitches and just one inning of a build-up each week. So, for example, we wouldn't want to go 2 innings, 30 pitches one week, and then the next week we're going 4 innings, 60, 65 pitches. We want to gradually progress them and build them up. Number 2 is momentum shift. This one requires a lot of feel as a coach and really just takes time for him to have a lot of different experiences to know when the right time is to remove the pitcher and understanding the rhythm and flow of the game. I remember a specific game between the Blue Jays and the Mariners back in 2022 in a playoff game. Kevin Gausman was on the mound. They were up against Seattle. I think it was 8-1 in the 6th inning. Gausman gave up 3 singles in a row, so now he has the bases loaded, nobody out. They did a mound visit, I want to say, and then right after that, he gets a strikeout and then an infield pop-up. So he's 1 out away from getting out of the jam. The momentum is starting to shift back to Toronto. They end up going to the bullpen and taking Gausman out before he has an opportunity to get that 3rd out and get out of the inning. They go to the bullpen, the guy ends up giving up a couple hits, and they actually end up losing this game after being up 8-1. They ended up losing, I think it was either 9-8 or 10-8 or 10-9, something like that. But they ended up blowing the lead and losing the game. As I was watching this game, this seemed like a perfect opportunity to keep Gausman in because they had all the momentum shifting back to their side. Yes, they were in the hole with nobody out and the bases loaded, but after 2 quick outs without a run coming in, now Seattle is starting to feel the pressure, especially being down by 7 runs. That was an opportunity for them to get back in the game. By going to the bullpen, they allowed Seattle to regroup. The time stood still, for 5 minutes or whatever it was for the reliever to get ready, come in the game, and now they were able to reset and they ended up capitalizing on it. So I'm not saying that just because they made this decision, that's why they lost the game, but it is something to consider when you're deciding when is the right time to remove the starting pitcher and understanding the flow of the game and where's the momentum. Is it on your side or is it on the other side? Number 3 is loss of command. This one's pretty self-explanatory. If a pitcher is starting to consistently miss his spots, especially with the fastball, that could be a red flag that it's time to get the bullpen moving and potentially take the starter out. What I have found subjectively is when a pitcher starts to lose it and he's walking guys, it's really tough for them to get it back, especially if this is later in the game. So as you're starting to see that command start to deteriorate a little bit, especially with the fastball, you might want to consider getting the bullpen moving. Number 4, reduced velo and stuff. This one is one of the most important ones because it is signaling a lot of different things. Depending on what level you're at, a pitcher could be throwing slower and their stuff could be less effective or not as strong as it typically is, but because they're just better than the competition, they might still be performing well. But this can really be a signal for fatigue or for an injury taking place. So you want to make sure you are really taking this one seriously if the velocity is dropping off significantly or the off speed is just not moving the same. This is really valuable information that you want to use, and you don't necessarily want to use the performance on the field as the measurement for this. And number 5, consistent hard contact. This one's one of the more obvious reasons to pull a guy out is if he's just simply getting hit around the yard. So look for consistency with consistent barrels, not necessarily hits because sometimes they might just be in a little bit of a groove and getting a little lucky with bloop singles here, one hard hit every once in a while. But if they're consistently barreling up the ball, even with their outs, might be a sign depending on the time of the game to get the bullpen moving. In summary, 5 possible reasons to consider removing your starting pitcher is pitch count, momentum shift, loss of command, reduced velo and stuff, and consistent hard contact. That's all for today, and as always, if you have any questions or feedback, please feel free to reach out. Before I let you go, I wanted to let you know about a pitching camp that I'm going to be running from August 9th to 11th in Phoenix, Arizona. This is going to be for ages 16 to 23 years old. So basically upper level high school juniors and seniors through college. This is going to be a very high-end and technical pitching camp. We are going to dive into your mechanics as well as some pitch design elements. I have access to a Kinetrax motion capture system and a force plate mound that you will be throwing on and be evaluated on, along with throwing on my TrackMan and my Edgertronic camera for us to really dissect your pitch movement and shapes. Along with this data and evaluation, we are going to get into the weeds on exactly what you need to improve and work through a game plan to achieve it, as well as actually putting those things into action during these 3 days. After you leave the camp, you are going to be having a remote program with me for the next 3 months where we are diving into these weaknesses as well as making sure that we are hammering home your strengths. So if you're interested in this high-end exclusive pitching camp, please check out the notes below. I'll make sure I attach the link. And then also one thing I forgot is I am limiting this to only 10 players because I want to make sure that you are getting the most out of this. I don't want this to be, 30 plus players where it's just multiple people at the same time and you're not getting the attention that you need. While there is still 10 people at this camp, there will still be individual time where I'm working in a one-on-one setting with you. So if you're interested in this and you want to take your game to the next level, please check out the notes below.